on my job, I wasn't going to be able to talk. One of those brilliant doctors said, 1 beer equals 1 meal. He opened up the gates of hell for me again. I thank God for the grace of God. I'm back, and I'm back in the sober. And I'm doing it this time. And if cancer comes back, I'll kick his ass again.
Hey, you guys, real quick. I know that public speaking is kind of scary, but I want to tell you guys all something. Have you guys all been in the darkness and struggled? Everybody has. We all have suffered and been in the darkness, and that means that we're climbing out, and everyone has a story, right? Everyone has some wisdom from that thing. So share your story, because if you're not sharing, you're selfish. By definition.
My name is Eddie. So these guys call me Black Wolf. But Elbert, it's August 12th, 2024. Not very long, but. So I've been in California for 2 years. I've been trying to get sober, on my own, and all these other different ways I've tried. I know I can't do it alone, you know. So I don't know. I'm glad that I'm here at Hope by the Sea. It's just a different environment. Like the atmosphere is different, you know. And I was talking to my case manager today, and I told him it's hard for me to commit to anything, you know. But I'm committed to this program. I'm committed to finish finally for once, and that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm glad I got my brothers here with me.
All right, we got 2 more quick ones, and then we're gonna go ahead and get started. All right, quick one though, quick one. All right. You ready? My name is Ted. I'm an alcoholic. I'm from Puerto Rico, and I got 62 days sober today. And I'm doing this because I'm tired of the way I was living. I got tired of it, and I want a different life. I want a sober life, a beautiful life. So I want what these guys got. Thank you, Amanda. I'm my ex therapist. I don't know where he's at. Thank you. Awesome. All right, we got one more. Grab a shirt, whatever size you want. You want to come up? All right, real quick one, and then we're going to go ahead and get started.
All right, guys, I got a quick story. Hey, everybody. All right, so Bob, he was the carpenter. Who are you? Bob. I'm Elvis. I'm the addict. Elvis! 3-week clean. Thank you. Hope I see. All right, well, my story goes, Bob is a carpenter. He built houses. He built houses for his whole life. He's tired. He's ready to retire. Goes into his office, talks to his boss, and says, "Boss, I'm ready to retire." His boss says, "All right, well, we got one more house for you to build. Can you manage that?" He says, "All right. You guys have been there for me, so I'll do this for you." Goes to work the next day, starts building this house, glass house. But he starts cutting corners. He starts using inferior materials. This house is not his best work. And Bob knows it. But Bob doesn't care about his project. He only cares about retirement.
Oh yeah, I swore. I'm allowed to say that if I spell it out.
Comes in the office, talking to his boss. Says,
Everybody,
"Hey, boss,
please,
all
if
done."
you're checking in, we love you.
And boss goes,
This is it right here. This
"Thanks,
is
boss."
reality right here. This is real life story. This guy's got 22 days
Here are
of
the keys.
sobriety, man. This is real raw
This is your
stuff
house
right
now.
here. 22 days of sobriety. I think he's
And if
30.
only
Let's
Bob
go.
had
Let's
known,
go.
He would put his whole heart into his project. He wouldn't have cut corners. He wouldn't have done a shitty job. How many of us are unhappy with the results we have in life? Looking back at our house, are we proud of it? Did we do a shitty job? I know I have. Each thought, each decision, each action you take is a brick, a window, a beam. So think about it. What are you putting into your house? Because you'll have to retire there soon. Thank you.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. You're right here, buddy. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started. My mic seems really, really loud. Does it seem loud, Chuck?
Wait, can you hear me? Mic check, one check. Okay.
Mic check, check, check.
Check your mic.
Well,
I don't need a mic, my voice is clear.
check your mic. Hello, 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 hello. All right, really quick before we get started, I'm gonna bring up Danny Lansdale again. He's gonna give you guys a quick 5-minute brief little intro. Where is Danny? Right here. Turn my mic down. Hello, hello, hello. Loud is good. Can everybody hear me okay? Can everybody in the back hear me? Yes? Okay. Huh? Danny, come on up. Give us just 5 minutes of your time.
5 minutes.
Give us some recovery. You got a lot of people in here that know who you are. And give them just a little message. Open it up for us, my friend.
I got it. Hey, you guys, my name's Danny, and I'm an alcoholic and an addict. Hey! And I got a sobriety clean date of January 2nd, 2012. And see, what's weird, you know what's the weirdest thing is that I'm happy. Like, really, really happy. Like, people ask me all the time, they're like, how? Why? I don't understand why you're so happy all the time. Like that can't be real. The reason I'm happy is because I'm free. I'm free. 100% free. I'm not out there shooting heroin, being a freaking weirdo, moving, you know what I mean, all that stuff. I'm not out there. I'm not torturing myself anymore. Because I came into recovery, and it's just that recovery's is recovery great? Hey, you know what I call this thing? The hero's path. This is the hero's path. Because a hero is defined by somebody that will sacrifice their feelings for the welfare of others. And in the beginning, I had that feeling that I wanted to use, and I wanted to drink, and I wanted to do all these things because that's what I was used to. But coming into recovery, I sacrificed that feeling for the welfare of my family, my daughters, my mom. I sacrificed that feeling so that I could have a good life. And it was hard. You know what? Recovery isn't easy. It is hard and it is difficult. For me, it was the most challenging moment of my life. And where's the battle? Within. The battle was within. So I came into this program and I surrendered. And surrendered was super difficult, but I got a sponsor. And you guys got sponsors? Yeah, we need a sponsor. Why do we need a sponsor? Because I can't keep taking advice from this freaking thing in my head. You know what I mean? So I got the sponsor, and he showed me the way out, and he asked me to do some things, and I did those things. I did everything he told me to do. And it's so weird because I've been to 10 treatment centers, 15 detoxes, lots of hospitals, 15 years in prison, and all this stuff. And I thought that if I just stop using and stop drinking, then I'm supposed to be amazing. And every time I stopped using and stopped drinking, I felt bored, frustrated, and irritated. This last time, it was about recovery. doing this stuff together. I got a motto that no one of us is as strong as all of us, right? We do this stuff together, right? Right? 100%? Say right. Right. We do it together. It's super important because no one of us is as strong as all of us. So on my journey, I surrendered to this program, and the last thing I'm going to share with you is if I am extremely out of shape and I need to do something about it, and I ask everyone, hey, what do I do about this? What do I do? I'm tired all the time. And someone tells me, hey, Danny, why don't you join the gym? Yes, I'm going to join the gym. So I go to the gym every day, and I sign up, and I tell them I'm going to be there for 1 hour, and I'm at the gym, and the first day I get there, this guy goes, hey, Danny, today we're going to do some cardio. And I go, yeah, I got a lot of stuff going on right now. You handle that cardio, and I'm just going to sit here. I got a lot of stuff happening. And then day after day, all I do is watch and listen. Watch and listen. Have you ever heard that thing, sit down and shut up? You ever heard that? I am not a fan of that, because I came into recovery for years, and I sat down and I shut up and nothing ever happened. So it's like joining the gym. There's work to be done around here, and there's a lot of winners in here, right? Right? We are winning today. 100%. We're in recovery. We're not hurting ourselves. We're not out there. We're good people today. Everyone in here, we're good people today. And we're coming out of the darkness and into the light. And I see it every day, and I am just so incredibly grateful for my recovery. It is the greatest thing that ever happened to me. So I'm just going to continue to stay. Stay. Just stay. That's why I got a tattooed on my knuckle. Just stay. All right, you guys. That's it out of me. Thank you so much.
Can we give it up for Danny Lansdale? Let's give it up for Danny Lansdale. And I'm literally not kidding you guys. When I met Danny, he literally helped me get through my fear of public speaking. I always knew that I had it in me. I always knew that I could get up and I have things to say, just like each and every one of you. Everybody has a story, and everybody has something to say. And I really like what Danny said. Not one of us is, or not, whatever he said about being strong. We're strong together is what we are, you know, and that's what Recovering Out Loud is about, man, because we aren't gonna crush this fentanyl crisis. We aren't gonna break the stigma of mental health and addiction. We aren't gonna do that unless we all come together and do it together. Let's go. I want to introduce really quick my good friend and my host of the Hopeaholics podcast, both of them. Natalie Eva Marie, WWE superstar, Mr. Shane Earn.
Should I stand? Okay. Before we kind of get into the shindig, I just want to say thank you to the entire team, the Infinity Group. Little quick story. So I know you guys are super hot because it's blazing outside, and we do have air conditioning, as you see right over there, because our lovely CEO was, concerned about the heat. However, because the forces sometimes like to go against you, the adapter to actually make that bad boy work, we didn't have. So, Brooke, Peter, the whole crew went out to try to find that piece, that missing, really big, important piece today, and unfortunately, we could not find it. So, with that being said, I really, myself and the boys, really appreciate you guys coming in the heat and being here tonight because, like Chad said, I am a third of 3 amigos of the Hopeaholic podcast, and for those that don't know me, I come from WWE and the crazy wrestling world, and what we're doing and what the mission behind the Hopeaholics podcast and the Infinity Group with our treatment centers, and really breaking the stigma of substance abuse and mental health as well as fentanyl. is truly everything to me. I celebrated 11 years this March. So don't get it twisted. One's out here with 3 weeks, 2 days. I've been in treatment. I've been right there. I've had that seat. You just hold on to that seat because the things that you do here in these groups, in these meetings, they are so true. So I don't want to talk too much, but I just wanted to give a huge thank you to the entire crew that made this happen. Because without them running and gunning like they do, none of this is possible. So I truly appreciate the Carlson family for creating something I think is magical when I got to walk in here a year ago, and then lo and behold, they haven't been able to kick me out of the building. Your girl is here to stay. It's changed the whole entire trajectory of my career and my life. So I just wanted to say thank you to the crew and then to all of you guys because you guys are doing the deal. I'm a living testament of what sobriety can actually become because I have another brother who's currently in his addiction, and man, the destruction is wild, especially to the loved ones that are around us, our parents, our other siblings, our spouses, children, etc. You guys know the deal. So what you have is truly special, and I wish nothing but the best for you guys. And I know you guys are going to hear some gold tonight from these two gems because if you haven't already, they've both been on our podcast, and we're absolutely incredible. So I'm really excited. Thank you to both of you guys for being here for the first. This won't be the last. This is the start of the movement. So hopefully we'll be doing these once a month and keeping the movement going. So, Shane, that was you, dog.
Wow. Thanks, Chatty Natty.
I had to say a lot. That everyone,
the best.
don't you see
So
people
17 years ago, when I got down to California from Canada, I met a guy at a treatment center. He became my mentor. His name was KC Homer, and he won a national championship at USC, and he was a Marine. And what happened was when the airplanes, when the helicopters would fly by, he'd zone out, and I'd say, KC, where'd you go? And he said, I know I'm going home when I hear the helicopters fly by. I know I'm getting picked up in the water, even though my buddy is bobbing, because he doesn't have half his body. You know, that was his experience. And then he asked the group a question. He said, who wants to be the one? I raised my hand, and a number of other people raised their hand as well. Everyone wanted to be the one. But the sad thing is that only 1 out of 100 or 1,000 is going to make it. And it's your job to surround yourself with people that are experienced in recovery. And
I want to introduce the queens. You guys get, take a couple minutes and tell them who you are.
I'm gonna let you guys down. They can hype me up. Wait. I'm Jimmy Queen.
And I'm Haley Queen.
And wow, it's such a blessing to be here. It's so crazy. Like, to anyone that's new to this, if you would have hit me up 5 years ago, there's no way in a million years I would have imagined being here. And that's what's so crazy. Does it sound weird?
You're good.
Directly. Oh, I found my voice. But yeah, I would have never thought 5 years ago we'd be here. We were 2 kids and started a family and thought we knew we thought we knew everything. And life has a way of humbling you, so just thinking back 5 years ago, it's crazy. I've been talking to God a lot lately. I always talk to him. I used to ask him for things for myself. And lately it's just been asking him, how can I be of service? Like, guide me, where should I be? And, this Drew hits us up, asks us to join the panel. It's like, God's answering prayers. I think a lot of the time we're wondering why he doesn't answer. I don't think we're always asking the right questions. So you kind of got to think about that. What do you want in your life? What holds value to you? What's your purpose? And I swear when you ask them the right questions, those prayers are always going to be answered. So, yeah.
Can you tell me your sobriety date?
Yeah, Jimmy, what's your sobriety date?
11/13/2015. So
Yeah.
coming up to 8 years this year. It's been an absolute journey. It didn't get easier right away. So to anyone, dude, like you said, hold on to your seat. It doesn't always get better, but I fucking promise if you stay in the game, you're gonna make it out to the other side. And life is so beautiful, dude. I got sober with the intentions of getting sober with my wife, and that didn't exactly happen, you know. And when I made the decision, everything was going pretty good. Like I said, talking to God, man, I need this job. I need this job. If I get this fucking job, dude, I'll do good. I'll ride this out. And as soon as he gave me that job, it was like, well, at first I got baptized, but he gave me that job, and then I was like, I don't need God anymore. You know, I got the income, I got the job I needed, I could do whatever I want. And when you walk alone, dude, there's an emptiness, and you'll get checked, you'll get humbled. It's so crazy. Like, we are all in this together. Like he was saying, like, one versus all, you know. And you don't ever have to be alone. Like, look around you. Go to these type of meetings. You are 100% a byproduct of your surroundings. And I love to surround myself with people like this. I got my best friend in the back. Like, build a fucking team, dude. Build the best team around you. Build that army, because when you do feel down, or you do feel low, or you are fucked up in your head, because our minds are going to take us to places that we shouldn't go. Where those insecurities creep in, those self-doubts, that ego that tells us we're fucking too good to go do this or go do that. Those things will literally get in your way of self-growth. And I think that's the biggest thing I've learned, like, from sobriety and then being a husband and being a dad, is there's no room for ego, dude. When you let your ego grow and you let that pride go and you just become your authentic self and you just enjoy people for who they are and what they are, like, life is beautiful, and there's so much that can come out of it. So I'm just rambling on. I don't know if, like, you should jump in, or I'm just sending.
I'll jump in. I'm Haley. I'm Jimmy's wife. I have a sobriety date of June 18th, 2019.
Yeah.
I am a little bit behind, you know, Jimmy. He got sober. He knew he was done. I was in my active addiction for almost 12 years. We have 2 kids together. And when he got sober, I was like, well, that sounds cool. Like, you know, good for you. I was on prescription pills for about, like I said, almost 12 years. I mean, I'll kind of keep it short. I was raised in a very good home in Huntington Beach. And then I went through some gnarly trauma when I was 18, some sexual trauma with a family member. And everything kind of changed for me after that. I developed an eating disorder and then just didn't like myself. And I feel that there's so many layers to my story, but I mean, it would take probably over an hour to tell you everything. But, so I went on, you know, a 3-year run. After he got sober, I was lying to everyone. And when I am in active addiction, I'm a thief, I'm a liar, I'm a manipulator. Probably most of you can attest to that as well. We've talked about this. And super selfish, super self-centered, and we all know that as well. So I think it was June 17th, I was miserable with my life. I was, you know, lying to my husband, lying to my family. No one wanted to be around me. Family, friends included, and my little girls were, our kids were 4 and 8, and I just knew I needed to make a change. So I called up Jimmy. I was like, I think I'm sick. Obviously, I was
like,
just,
bullshit.
Yeah, I'm just a drug addict, but I was kind of like trying to run it to the end. Went to the hospital and looked at the doctor, and I was like, all right, you have two choices. You either come clean and you go to rehab and you ask for help, or you come up with some fucking disease that's in your head. So I was like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna do it. I'm a drug addict. I need to go to rehab. course, like, I think when I walked in, they kind of already knew that. But I kind of, that was like my surrendering, and you like, yeah. You're like, oh, like, they're like, like, yep, okay, well, I need help. So went, he picked me up, and I was like, I'm going to rehab. And at this point, I think that was my surrendering point of, I've done so much damage to those around me in my marriage, financially, like you name it, just so much damage that I had, caused in my life. But so I think I went to a couple rehabs. I actually ended up here, which is so weird. When I ended up doing the podcast with you guys, I was like, holy
5
shit.
years and 2 months ago.
Yeah, that was 5 years ago. Called my mom. I'm like, it's too far. 30 minutes away. It's too far.
Honey said 30 minutes away. I can't
Please
be
come
that
pick
far.
me up. But I ended up in Costa Mesa. I did 90 days, or I did 60 days residential, 30 days sober living. Got a sponsor, and I fucking took her direction. I went to many meetings while I was in rehab, and I think the first couple weeks I wanted to leave. I was like, I have this epiphany. I'll just go home and I'll be sober. I'll get into the program, and they're all, nope, this is your disease talking. And I'm like, a little bit of me was like, motherfuckers, like they're so rude. But I think once I just kind of, went through therapy and started taking direction from my sponsor and really got connected with God, I just kind of was like, all right, Haley, your way has not worked. And I'm just going to take direction, and I'm going to, get a connection with God and do all the right things. And sometimes I can't even believe that I am 5 years sober, because I at some point, many points of my addiction, I accepted that I was going to be an addict, and everyone else just had to deal with it. But I'm grateful, and I know that you said that you had 43 days. Congratulations. It makes me happy to hear people like that, and I'm sure many of you are early sobriety, late sobriety. All I can say is it is, easier said than done, but sobriety is such a gift. So definitely keep going.
Amazing.
And it's crazy because anyone going through the program or anything else, like, shit, you hear the success rate, like, so low. But it works 100% of the time if you want it to work.
Yes.
And you got to take that same mindset and anything else you do in life. Like, I saw changes in my wife right away. Like she said, dude, she fucking burned the house down, dude. So I was pissed. I was angry. I was mad. I was sad. I was fucking scared, dude. Like, I was a grown man I thought was doing everything right. I had gotten sober. I had given my life to God. And dude, my house was burning down from the inside, and I just fucking wasn't looking for smoke, So when the walls came down, it came down hard. It came down fast, and I didn't know really what to do. And that was another thing to where, like, okay, I need to dive back in. I need to get right with myself. I had to take some accountability for some of the things that was going on with her, because at first I pointed all the blame. And it's easy to do that. It's really easy to look at someone else and blame them for everything. But there was things I took part in, and I wasn't always there and wasn't as involved. But it is pretty crazy, because anyone out there that's damaged some relationships and have destroyed some things in your life, maybe you can't repair them all, but I promise if you just keep focusing and worrying on what the work that lies ahead for you, everything else will start to grow again. Like, I saw so much change in her so fast, and like I said, I was so angry and so mad, and it was wild, like seeing her work the steps and seeing her put in the work on herself. All of a sudden, it was wild, because she wasn't even the girl that I fell in love with. She was a better version, and you can't get that outside of like asking for help. It took her to like really, really surrender and go, you know what, like, the motor that's running this vehicle is fucked up. I need to throw it out. I need to put an LS in here, dude. I need to compartmentalize everything, and And she did. And people get involved in your life and they see kind of the destruction of everything, and you can't worry about anybody else but you, especially when you're in recovery. Other people's feelings are not your concern. Your guys' job is to focus on you, do the work that lies ahead, and just stay focused on that. Because as you keep building yourself up, everything else is going to start falling into place, you know? And it was just pretty rad to see, like, everything that you've done. And like I said, like, she was here 5 years ago. Like, we shouldn't even be here today. Like, in today's world, everyone tells you it's okay to fucking quit. You could quit. You could get divorced. It's not a big deal. Like, walk away from anything that's hard. And that is such a shitty way to live. You know, the things that you hold value to, like, fucking fight for it. Because I'm glad we went through everything we went through. We went through fucking Hurricane Katrina at our house, dude. You know, like, Haley tore it down. But you know what? It took everything getting torn down for us to build back up, and we built it up the right way. We got together as kids. Our foundation was party. And we needed a rebuild, and that's what God wanted for us, and that's what we did. And I honestly look back, if you would have asked me 5 years ago, like, I ask God all the time, like, why am I going through this? Why are you putting me through this? What did I do? Why is my life falling apart? Dude, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. You know, like, our marriage, our relationship, we've become one. We're indestructible because there's no more walls. There's no more lying. Like, we know each other's deepest, darkest fucking things. And I love it, you know? Like, that's what it takes. Sometimes it takes a full destruction so you could rebuild things the way they should be. So, man, when you're going through the process, like, hone in on that. Like, realize that you just have to focus on you. I think anything is repairable. And you might not always get the responses you want. I know with her family, it took years.
Yeah, it took I would say probably like a good couple years that my parents were like, damn, we're proud of you, you know? And I know that there's some people that I hurt in my addiction that didn't fully forgive me, but I mean, I almost felt selfish, like saying like, well, that's on them, you know what I mean? Like, resentments will take you out, I know that for a fact. But I just, you know, kept working on myself, and now I'm not a fucking liar, and I always have to tell the truth, and it just feels good, you know? So you are literally right where you're supposed to be.
And this is just a little snippet of who these wonderful humans that we got to actually meet, because their full testimony is on the podcast, and if you guys haven't checked it out, you definitely should. But we're gonna throw a little curveball in, and we're gonna start asking you guys some questions.
I think that's a great idea.
And also get questions ready in the audience as well. But what I think I love about your guys' story is you guys met when you were kids, and then you obviously both suffered with addiction, and then were able to ride the wave together and still come out on the other end. So I think that's beautiful. I mean, you have a beautiful family, beautiful home, and your lives have completely changed. And that to me is a testament of the promise of two individuals sticking to the principles, working on themselves, and then coming together. So that's huge. So congratulations to you guys, because, you know, not only is this shit's hard. Anybody that says it's not is lying. Like, it takes work. It's just simple. You just got to do it. So, do you have a first question?
No, I was just I had a thing to say. It is hard, but you know what? You know what else is hard? It's hard to stay stuck in your addiction. It's hard to be in pain all the time. It's hard to feel like shit 24/7. It's hard to look for your next pill, fix, drink, drug. That is hard. You know what's actually easier? Walking through that pain and getting to the other side and getting a beautiful life. There's so many people that I look around in this room and I know that they have struggled, and I know where they're at today. And like, I mean, I wouldn't give up this life that I've got for anything anymore, you know? And that's just getting through the work. And these two have done the the work, you know, and that's why I brought them here, because they've done the work. They are what recovery looks like, you know, and especially from a family standpoint.
Based on that too, like recovery's hard, but you know what's so great about it is you build off that, and you're gonna gain so many things. You're gonna build up so many strengths, and then you go out in the real world again, and you already know what you're gonna realize what you're capable of. Like you've already done the hard stuff. Now you take that same commitment, that same consistency that you applied to get sober, dude. You could do anything you want with your life, and I think that's been like the biggest takeaway for us. Like first we got sober, we fixed our marriage. That seemed impossible, which it wasn't, because we made it through, and then it was like, okay, we're financially like not good right now, so boom, heads down, let's work. And we just kept building these like little chipping blocks, and then as time kind of went on, I was just kind of one of those people where I was working every day and life was good. But I was daydreaming. I kept listening to these podcasts and these stories and these people that inspired me, and they're doing all these things with their life, and I'm like, why can't I do that? I've already gone through like harder shit, you know, and I just started talking to her, and then we started coming up with a plan of like, what can we do? What do we enjoy doing? What's life for us? What's gonna bring us fulfillment? Because I just felt like there was more out there, and we knew together how strong we were. We already knew what we were capable of. We've already gone through harder stuff. She started teaching and doing spin classes, and I would always take her class, and that was something she would always tell everybody, like, this class is 45 minutes long. You guys have gone through so much harder things in life than this, so just give it your all. And when you start taking that approach to life, you just don't know what's impossible until you try. And you start realizing you're capable of so much more, and that's what we've been doing the last year, and the sobriety thing, it just continues to evolve because you're pushing yourself and challenging yourself, and dude, at the end of the day, you just realize you're really actually capable of doing anything you want, because it starts with day 1 and then day 43. You know what I mean? You're like, fuck, dude, I made it 43 days. I didn't think I could ever do that. Then you realize, fuck, I'm all of a sudden you're 2 years sober. You're like, what else can I do with my life? Dude, you could do anything. You just need to be passionate about it. You just need to be consistent with it, and you just have to apply it every single day. And when you do that, you start to find out, like, I can do anything I want.
Oh, for sure. And not only that, but especially because at the very beginning in treatment, or if you're just going to meetings, too many people are saying the same thing. Too many people are talking about promises and their life is beyond their wildest dreams. I used to sit in the back and be like, yeah, right. But like, then you start going to multiple meetings and you hear the same thing, the same spiel. I'm like, okay, something here, because nobody knows each other and they're saying the same narrative. You know what I mean? It's like, this is bizarre. So obviously something is working, and it's obviously doing the work. But, okay, who has their first question? I'm coming to you. Okay, 43 days. And my bracelet girl.
I have a question for you, Jimmy. I wanted to ask, was there a time while you were sober, while Haley was still using, that you wanted to give up at all, or like relapse? Like, how did you get through that?
Yeah, there was a moment. My best friend's dad passed away, and he was like a total bother to me. Drinking was always a part of my life. Like, it was a great part of my life in so many ways. The way I used to think, you know, like. And we lost him, and it was actually a super crazy story. I was only like 2 months sober at the time, maybe 3. My best friend back there actually just got out of treatment. Someone handed me a beer. I was gonna drink it. I had it open. And I was just sitting there staring at it. And this is what I'm talking about, being like, build the team around you, because I was holding the beer. He walked up. He had just gotten out of treatment, and he fucking threw the beer out of my hand and was kind of looking at everybody else. That was kind of the one big one. And then outside of with her, like, doing stuff, it was so hard because she's so good at manipulating, dude. It was
A professional.
very professional.
Oh, so I thought.
When she actually went to treatment, I got sent out to Vegas, and that was like kind of a challenge. We're building like Raider Stadium, everyone I worked with was drinking, like, and we were working like the worst shift possible. I think we were working like 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. So it's like Vegas is just waking up, but I just knew what I had worked for. I knew what drinking does for me. Honestly, anything in my life right now, and I would recommend this to anyone, whether it's the people or what you put in your, whatever it may be, if it's not gonna help elevate you and get you to where you want, fucking cut it. And it doesn't mean you can't care about certain people or you can't love them, but you could love them from a distance. You really have to prioritize yourself and like really be aware of what you're gonna let in, because whatever you let in is gonna consume your time and your energy. And it's really gonna affect the way you're gonna approach the next day and your thoughts and everything you wanna build. And so today I have a lot of friends that I love and I care about, but I do not talk to them every day. I see them, and if they wanna come over to my house to watch a UFC fight or something, that's about it. I got my girls, I got a couple of my really good friends, and we all live the same lifestyle. So you're either in the gym or surfing or this or that, but outside of that, like, just be aware, because when you do start allowing certain people in your life every day, or you start going to the bars again or whatever, it catches up, dude. And like that Vegas trip, I was already a couple years into sobriety. It was hard, but I knew what mattered most, and it just, I drank a Red Bull,
Yes.
Yeah.
How did your children deal with all the addiction, and how are they doing now? Are they in counseling?
That's a great question. Like I said, they were young when I did go to treatment, but I did notice that my older one, and our daughters are 9 and 13 now, and they're totally thriving. They're so happy. But I did notice that my oldest one, because I was constantly yelling around the house, constantly throwing shit. I never laid hands on them, but I just, how it is, like, it's just a bad environment. But I did notice that she was getting these little like panic attacks before dropping her off at school. But you know what? Like, we actually didn't get them into therapy. But we're very open about, we don't drink. We're in, mom's in recovery, and we work out, we eat healthy, and they're happy, and I couldn't be, more grateful for that.
I think with kids too, like, they are so resilient. Like you said, our oldest one was dealing with some like panic attack style stuff before school. Maybe she was just wanting to hold us a little closer or whatever. And then our youngest was pretty young, so she was only a couple years old. She was 4. She was like not as social as she probably should have been, and she's probably too smart for her age regardless. So I think there was things that she didn't understand, but she knew were probably off. But they recovered like so fast. Like when she went to treatment, they were asking me like where mom was, and I just said mom was sick. And I think they saw how stressed I was, which made them a little bit nervous. But honestly, like within a little bit of time, like they kind of were doing their day to day. We kept them busy. We just kept them really busy. It was summertime when she checked into treatment, and they were asking a lot in the beginning, and then like they get so consumed with life too, to where it was like okay. And then as soon as you got out, it was like nothing. I mean, your kids are always gonna love you. Like I always talk to everybody, like our kids look at us like we're Superman, So just be Superman for them, man. I think kids are only full of love. So I think as long as you show up, my dad was an alcoholic my whole life, and he was such a great guy. And I think all of our parents probably have things that might hurt us, but you're always gonna like forgive your parents. And I think with the kids, as soon as mom came back into their life, they had their mom again.
Next question. Name. I forgot to ask the name. Cody.
So I'm from Oklahoma, and me coming down here, it's a lot easier for me to get sober than it is back home. So how often do y'all get triggered being sober in the same place y'all are from and where y'all used to go?
That's a good question. I actually, the best way that I can kind of explain this is, how many days do you have? 34. Congratulations. You know, I truly like to say that God removed that obsession from me. That it, you know, when I went to treatment, I was ready. I didn't have any cravings, which thank God. I don't know how that happened. But I think your question was how could you be around in the same environment? I think I just worked on myself. I had a fucking thinking problem. You know what I mean? And I chose drugs and alcohol to kind of not deal with those things and push them down. So I think when you truly start digging and doing more work on yourself and, you know, working your steps and all that, like those situations aren't even gonna bother you one day. You know, like, do I want to go out and hang out at a bar with my friends? No, not really, because I think drunk people are kind of obnoxious to be around, right? But I can be in environments, you know, and I'm like, I don't even think twice about it, honestly.
And I think it's like we have the problem, you know. Like you could blame the booze and you could blame other things, but at the end of the day, it's you that do it. So it's working on yourself. I mean, and you can never run away from it. You know, anywhere you ever go, that situation's always going to pop up. That thought might pop up in your head, but you have to be confident with who you are, know who you are, and just always remember all the work that you put in 34 days in right now, you know, like look at the process of what you've gone through and just remember all the growth along the way, you know. And growth doesn't happen like overnight. You're going to keep getting stronger. All these things, you're going to keep building these like this kind of this armor around you know. And it's just going through the process. It's walking through that fire, like Chad said. Sometimes it's just walking through it, dude. And just kind of remember, like, as you're going through that process, realize all of the growth that you've taken along the way. And when you look back, I mean, look, I would imagine you today compared to 34 days ago, could you have ever imagined you could grow that much, you know? Wait till you hit a year and then 2 years, and then it's just like, that other stuff is just noise, you know? When we go out and see drunk people, I just feel bad for them. They just look sad, you know? They're just masking who they don't want to be, and they haven't put in that work, you know? So, but.
I think it just makes, once you put a little bit of time together, then your thinking clears up a little bit, right?
We lost you.
Is it? Oh yeah, you're right. It was.
Completely lost you.
I know. Sorry, but once your thinking comes like a little bit more clear, then you're able to not only look at how far you've gone, but then now you have a little bit of time, and in their case, married family, so they have a lot to lose now. And remembering how it was when we were at that point to get us in these seats in the first place. And just kind of taking yourself there before you kind of act on that action.
Yo, my name's Marley, my girl Lindsay, North Carolina, but you guys are beautiful, and like, I'm just wondering how important it is to practice patience. What you got?
Practice patience?
Oh gosh.
Are you guys are a couple? You guys came into treatment together? Okay.
Oh, hell yeah.
I have next to me a 5'1", part Hawaiian, part American Indian, part Irish.
A beast.
Like,
oh my gosh. Patience is, dang. I had to work on that, dude, because I would literally go 0 to 100 in 5 seconds, dude. Yeah. I mean, the way I was so reactive when, like, you know, and I think a lot of mine was, you know, ego. So when I was in my addiction, I was like, oh, don't fucking talk to me like that, you know, like.
As I'm running away, just going, give me 5 minutes to cool down and then we'll talk.
My ego always told me, like, hey, you're like the hottest one in the room. And all these people are idiots. Like, that's how I used to think. Like, it's so crazy to think about. No, I had to work on my patience a lot. That's a lot of, I think, prayer and self-talk. And what I do to this day, since I, you know, for over 5 years now, is set my intentions for the day. How do I want to be? And that's an intention for me. An intention is different than, you know, a goal. how do you want to experience something? Well, how do you want to experience that day? And, you know, set your intention for patience if you need it, because it's hard in the beginning, you know?
I think with patience, it's never just patience alone though. It's also like communication and forgiveness. You know, you kind of have to have all three, because when you're with someone else, I mean, you're like combining your lives now to where she's a firecracker, dude. I piss her off and I say something, like I don't get a bail. She wants to handle it like right away and resolve it, where I'm the person who's like, just give me like 10 minutes to chill out or like whatever to calm. Yeah. So.
Oh, that's too long. We need to talk now.
But yeah. So there's patience, but then there's communication. So it's like that's another thing. Like, hey, like we're both heated right now. Like you have to communicate. You can't patience just gonna come on its own. Like you guys have to communicate together. That was something we never did. Like communication was, I shut off. I'm irritated, I shut up. You know, me and you.
And just kind of honestly listening to each other, like something that might hurt her feelings, you're like, why are you upset about that? Or vice versa, you know, we all are entitled to our feelings and we all process things differently. So if you just kind of, okay, I'm
how
gonna
you
listen.
communicate your
You know?
feelings.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
communication and just listening to the other person, because all of our, you know, feelings are valid.
I have a question piggybacking on two people that are together in treatment, two people that are married. Now, I'm assuming you guys work your separate programs and you don't try to step the other one, like point the finger at the other one, like, oh, you should be, you know what I'm saying? Like taking them through the steps when it's you're not her sponsor and vice versa.
Exactly.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. Pointing, like, you mean like pointing the finger?
Well, like trying to basically do step work the other way.
I think what she's asking is, do you guys work your own separate programs?
You know, honestly, I went through the steps. I need to work the steps again, or I've been wanting to, but I don't currently have a sponsor.
I think there's like I think everyone has to individually run through their own steps, because you have to process things your own way, but there are things as you're married or in a relationship that you need to be doing together as well, and that's where like the communication kind of comes in as well, because you're now sharing your life with someone, but you can't there are things that you have to work on just individually, and there's certain demons in the closet that you have to get out, and then that's like kind of comes down to communication again as well, because that's talking to your partner like, hey, I have to do this because this is for me. Like, this helps me. Where that might not help you, where maybe you don't need to go to a meeting all the time, or you don't have an outlet like the gym or whatever it may be. Like, everyone has these individual things that they need, because it gives them some type of self-help, you know? And it might not work for the other person. If you could do certain things together where you both benefit, that's great. Just understand that your partner might need to do something on their own as well.
And I like that. I want to say something here for a second. I'm sorry. In your first year, 2 years, maybe a little more, you have to follow instruction to the key, because everyone pays the Pied Piper. Now, when there's signs on the wall saying no smoking, pick up the butts, do this, do that, and you're thinking, why? There's no reason behind it. I don't get it. I still don't get it. You're never going to fucking get it. But the point is, it's going to save your life. That's it. So when you got 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, you can get away with doing things or not doing things. She's willing to pay the Pied Piper and not do certain things, and she can survive like that. She's got her program keyed in. Just like Jimmy, he's got his program keyed in. Everyone's got to pay the Pied Piper in a different way. That's all. We got shirts we want to give away, though. Chad?
And we have time for one more question.
Oh, yeah.
One more question, and then you want to do shirts? Yeah. One more question?
I noticed my name is Noah and I'm an addict. I noticed the steps were mentioned, and I just wanted to ask personally. So there's this thing called the 9-step promises, and I was wondering about how long did it take through sobriety until you noticed those things come to fruition?
With all the promises? You know, I actually just read the promises 2 weeks ago, and I'm reading through them, because you know, I had to go to meetings when I was in rehab and I didn't understand anything. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna sit here and listen and take direction, listen to people's, you know, shares. But I'm reading through the promises a couple weeks ago and I'm like, 1, 2, like, did I fucking have everything now? And it took a while to get those things, but I didn't have financial freedom. I mean, what do they say? Like, now I can deal with things that I thought were such a big deal. And I was like, oh my God, this is overwhelming. This gives me anxiety. And I'm like, oh, you know, things that are just, it is what it is, or like pick and choose your battle. But it's funny that you brought that up because I did read the promises a couple weeks ago. And I was like, dang, the hell? I've heard people talk about this, but it's wild. I'm grateful.
I can tell you guys that the best promise that you can get from working the steps is freedom from active addiction. That is the promise right there, you guys. And with freedom from active addiction, there is nothing that you can't accomplish in life. You know, this dragon that we face every single day, this demon, you know, when you can beat this, everything else is nothing, man. It's small potatoes. Like Natalie and I say all the time on the podcast, our addiction, in essence, our recovery, is our superpower, you know? And we use it to our advantage to get ahead in life, to do things, to make those promises come true. Because for me, today, and if you haven't used today, you have that freedom today. You know, and what we have is 24 hours. That is all we have. We have 24 hours. And somebody asked a question earlier about being able to go places, you know. You can go anywhere you want as long as you are spiritually fit. And there's a reason for you to be there. I can go to a bar. I've been to a club. I've been to these places. And I can go to these places as long as I'm supposed to be there and I'm spiritually fit. You know, I believe, and I truly believe this, addiction is a spiritual disease, you know, and we need to, we're stuffing inside this hole that we have inside of us all these other things, and truly the only thing that can fill it is God. You know, we have a God-sized hole, you know, and I'm not here to preach any specific religion. I'm just here to just tell you guys, just give it a try. Just get down on your knees and pray, or you don't even, if you haven't never got on your knees, you don't have to. You can just, my first prayer was like, man, I just don't want to live like this anymore. Can you help me get through this day? You know, and I started there. You know, and today, the God that I grew up is actually the God that I believe in, you know. The one that I walked away from because I thought that he was judgmental. But you know, it's like the truth of the matter is like I can do anything I want today. Because every day, I think that it's super, super important to have a routine. And every day when I get up after my last relapse, I made a promise to myself. Because I was also married when I got sober. And I remember calling my wife from rehab. And she said to me, I don't know if I can stay with you. And I was sitting in rehab, and I remember thinking to myself, I want to get loaded so fucking bad right now because I don't know how to deal with these feelings, right? That's why we all use, because we don't know how to deal with the feelings. And I wanted to run, and I wanted to scream. I had two choices. I could get loaded, or I could do this deal. And the decision that I made was, even if she left me, I didn't want to hurt another human being the same way that I had hurt all these other people in my life, especially my wife. And that I was going to get sober so that I didn't hurt another human being. And on Saturday, just this past Saturday, we celebrated 8 years together.
Yeah, she's sitting
right
there.
here. A lot of you guys don't get to see my wife because she doesn't show up too often, but here she is right here. She probably doesn't like me calling her out either. She's not as outgoing as I am and wanting to be on in the limelight.
Along with his sister.
My sister, my mom,
yes.
My dad.
Yes.
You know, we're going to give out some shirts, and can we please give a round of applause for Haley and Jimmy Queen?
And real quick, like you were saying with the prayer, anyone that doesn't know God or has a higher power, like you said, like I used to think you had to pray a certain way. I have buddies that are pastors. My brother knows scripture well, and when he like sends off a prayer, I'm like, dude, that's how I want my next prayer to sound. Mine does not sound that good ever, you know. So like, for me, talking to God is just like how I talk to anybody else.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's in my head, but it's building that relationship every day and having that type of communication. But don't ever feel a pressure that you have to sound a certain way when you talk to God or whatever your higher power is. Like you were just saying, you just got to talk to him, and it could be anything. So small, but like that will play a major role in your
And
life.
it's essential, like Chad, like you guys are saying, it is very crucial in our recovery for sure, being spiritually fit. So for anybody that is struggling with a God or a higher power, I always say this to the girls that I sponsor. All that means is that you believe in something greater than yourself, because you running the show ended you up with that seat, and that you ain't doing a good job. So how about you move over to the passenger side and let somebody else, whatever that may be, and give it a whirl. Super simple.
And dude, things fall into place. God had us here 5 years ago, dude, and our life was a complete 180 what it is today. Now we're here talking to all of you guys, you know? So
Which is a promise. And that's also, you're gonna see, like, everybody's gonna have different promises for their life. Like, when I first got sober, a promise that came to me, I got my license back. Like, that was a huge win. So, but the guy in the next row, he's had his license the whole time. So that wasn't anything special to him, you know what I mean? So, but essentially, it's exactly like you have the peace of mind. And that's what we're all searching for, because we used to escape our thoughts. And so once you do the deal, then I can look at myself in the mirror and you become a motherfucking savage.
A motherfucking savage. All right. Shane, Natalie, Haley, Jimmy, thank you guys. We're going to go ahead and pass out some shirts. And while we pass out some shirts, I'm going to tell a really quick story about the Hopeaholics and why the Hopeaholics exist. So you guys go ahead while I tell the story. Pass out some shirts. Do your thing. Get excited, Shane. Show some energy. It's past Shane's bed. I just want to tell everybody it's past Shane's bedtime. All of them, yeah. Everything's going. So figure out what sizes you have. You got stacks of sizes. I want to really quick tell a story. Remember, guys, please don't leave 5 minutes before the miracle happens. We still got to pray out, so get ready, come on in. We're going to get ready to pray out, but really quick, I want everybody to listen up for a second. The reason why the Hopeaholics podcast exists is because on September 11th, 2022, at 7:30 a.m., I got a phone call from my daughter. And I looked down at the phone. It was 7:30 a.m., and she doesn't usually call me this early in the morning. No, I lost them all. All they care about is the swag. I'll talk to my good friend over here in the back. I'll talk to my good friend in the back, Judge Anderson. I just want you guys to know that fentanyl is real. It is real. And the phone call that I got was my daughter screaming. Screaming the kind of scream that you hear when you know that somebody has passed away. And when I answered the phone, she said, Justin's dead. And I asked if she had called 911, and she said no. I told her to hang up the phone, call 911, and I'll be on my way. God put it on my heart just a few weeks after that to be the voice for the people that have lost their lives to the fentanyl crisis, and to also offer hope to the family members who are out there struggling and hurting. So I went to Shane and I said, hey, let's do a podcast. We didn't know what it was going to be called, but I remember about 10 years ago, we had done a sweatshirt. We always do sweatshirts. They would usually say "Got Hope" on them. But for some reason, 10 years ago, we made a sweatshirt that said Hopeaholic on it. And I quickly went to the internet. I went to Instagram and I went to the web, search GoDaddy, and I was like, dude, we're gonna be called the Hopeaholics, you know, and that was God, you know, and that was God. So Shane and I started, we were the dynamic duo. And then we weren't that great. He said, not that great. We needed something more, and God gave us something more. And Natalie came in as a guest. And that's a promise, because I'm gonna pass the mic over to her because I want her to tell this part, because about 10 years ago, what she wrote down and where things are at today. So guys, give it up again for Natalie Eva Marie.
I'll keep it quick and short, because I know we're at our time. But what Chad's saying is, I walked in here July 27th of 2023, just as a guest, because I came out with my own narrative on Total Divas, which was a reality show that showcased, coincide with Monday Night Raw, WWE, Friday Night SmackDown. And so I learned really quickly that it's really powerful when you own your own story and don't let somebody else tell it for you, because then you don't have to backpedal or be embarrassed. And fast forward 10 years later, I was just coming on this podcast to kind of share my experience, strength, and hope, because throughout the last 10 years, that's what I would do on my platform, is share my sobriety and kind of my journey through social media, Instagram, you guys know. And lo and behold, part of my 12 steps, part of my program is I wake up in the morning and I write, pray, and do all the things. And I wrote down exactly what I'm doing today. I've always wanted to be a part of something bigger in treatment because it saved my life, and have a recovery center and be a voice and break the stigma, because there's no shame in getting well. There's shame in causing destruction and wanting to kill yourself and staying exactly where you are. And then I walked in, I met the entire group, I met the Infinity group. I make the joke that they fell in love with my husband, they got stuck with me. And then a month later, after I did the podcast, I came, signed papers, and partnered with this group, and have never left. I don't live here, y'all. I live in Texas. So that's how I know when you're doing things, certain doors will open up for you, and it's important for you to open your eyes and open your ears, because it was the easiest transition. Like, I'm away from my husband right now, but I'm living the dream because of you guys, because you guys give me life, because I was once right there in that seat, and I need to remember that every single day, because just like that, I'll lose this 11 years, because I've lost time before, and I never want to do that. So I'm grateful to this family right here sitting in the front row, because they started their treatment facility 23 years ago, and then unfortunately the Hopeaholics started through a tragedy, but I will always continue Justin's legacy, because without his loss, I would never walk into this building. So I'm gonna honor him for as long as I possibly can, and grateful that these two knuckleheads brought me on board. So that was a quick little summary.
Beautiful. Let's go. We're gonna pray out. Let's circle up. Everybody circle up. There's gonna be a big circle, man. We're gonna circle up. Let's go. Circle up. We're gonna pray out. Stronger together. Let's go. Everyone circled up. Everybody holding hands. Touching everybody. Yep. All right. God, grant me the serenity. Amen. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate you all.